The night shift on Relay Station Epsilon 9 was usually quiet. The small station floated on the edge of human space, circling a dim red star that gave almost no warmth. Most days, the crew had little to do but check readings, run maintenance, and drink recycled coffee. Lieutenant Ava Renner sat at the console, watching the steady blinking lights. She was young, just 24, and this was her first real assignment. She expected boredom, not history, but fate had other plans. At first, the signal looked like static, just a faint pulse lost in the background noise of space. But then the rhythm repeated. 3 short bursts. A pause. 3 more. Ava frowned and leaned forward. It was too regular, too intentional to be random. "Control, this is Renner," she called softly. "I think I've got something on long-range comms." Her supervisor, an older officer named Commander Patel, walked over with a tired look. "Another false alarm?" he asked. "Maybe," Ava admitted. "But listen." She played the audio through the console. A low, pulsing tone filled the room. It was rough and broken, but the pattern was clear. Patel's eyes widened. "That's not background radiation." "No, sir," Ava said. "That's a call." Within an hour, the small station was buzzing with activity. Technicians worked to clean the signal, stripping away centuries of interference. Slowly, words began to form, though they were not in any human language. The translation AI struggled. The code was old, ancient even. Finally, after hours of work, the first full sentence appeared on the screen. "To any who still hear us, help us. The Vayari endure." The crew went silent. The name stirred faint memories. The Vayari, a species spoken of only in history books thought long dead. Patel whispered, This message is thousands of years old." Ava felt a shiver down her spine. Then why are we only hearing it now? Back on Earth, the signal became a storm. The message spread through research centers, military councils, and news networks. Historians confirmed the truth. The Vayari had once been a peaceful civilization. They were artists, scientists, and builders of great cities. But they had been destroyed by the Zircal Dominion, a ruthless empire that still ruled parts of the galaxy with fear. The distress call was a relic, a voice from the grave. And yet, it still carried hope. The United Earth government met in secret session. In a grand chamber filled with admirals, diplomats, and scholars, the debate raged. "Why should we answer?" One minister asked. "The Vayari are gone. This call is nothing but an echo." Another voice, sharp and cold, added, "If the Dominion learns we interfered, they will turn their eyes on us. Humanity is not ready for that war." But Admiral Marcus Hale, a man with gray hair and a voice like steel, stood tall. "With respect, the Dominion already despises us. They see us as an upstart race. If we ignore this call, we prove them right. But if we answer," he paused, scanning the room, "then we show the galaxy who we are." The chamber fell into uneasy silence. Meanwhile, ordinary people heard whispers of the signal. On the networks, rumors spread. The Vayari called, and humanity is listening. In the universities, students argued about what it meant. On the colonies, workers dreamed of standing for something greater than mining shifts and trade routes. On the fleets, old veterans smiled, remembering humanity's long history of rising to impossible challenges. Everywhere, the same question echoed. Will we answer? Ava Renner was summoned back to Earth as part of the review team. She found herself in the great archive halls beneath Geneva, staring at holograms of Vayari ruins. Historians explained how the Vayari were gentle, how they created wonders that inspired even their enemies. They were not warriors, one scholar said softly. They sent this call as their last hope. But it came too late, Ava frowned. Maybe it wasn't too late. Maybe it was meant for us. The room went quiet at her words. For the first time, someone had said aloud what many had quietly thought. Days later, the official decision was made. Humanity would answer. The announcement was simple. The Prime Minister appeared on every screen, every colony broadcast, every starship terminal. Her words were calm but firm. Long ago, a people called the Vayari sent out a cry for help. Their voice crossed centuries, and by chance it reached us. They did not know us, and they did not expect us. But we have heard, and we will not turn away. Humanity will answer the call. For a moment, the galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. Not everyone approved. Other alien powers, the cautious, the fearful, the ones already bent under Dominion rule, sent warnings. Stay out of this, humans, one envoy demanded. The Dominion will crush you. But humanity only replied with a quiet promise. We do not run from calls for help. On relay station Epsilon 9, Ava sat once more at her console, watching the stars. She thought about the message, still repeating, still echoing across time. To any who still hear us, help us. Ava smiled faintly. Don't worry, she whispered into the night. We're coming. The galaxy did not yet know what it meant, not truly. But the first step had been taken. The forgotten signal had been heard. And humanity, against all fear, against all odds, had chosen to rise. It was not the Veyari who had summoned the ultimate battle fleet. It was the call itself. And humanity had answered. The decision was made. Humanity had answered the call, but words alone were not enough. If Earth meant to stand against the Dominion, if they truly meant to honor the Veyari's message, they would need more than promises. They would need a fleet. Admiral Marcus Hale stood on the balcony of Orbital Command, gazing out at Earth. The planet glowed blue and white beneath him, beautiful and fragile. Behind him, reports streamed. In from across human space, Colonial Defense Force on Titan pledges 3 cruisers. Outer belt miners offering transport ships for refit. New Sydney Yards readying strike craft. Every message was a spark of loyalty, of courage. But Hale knew sparks were not enough. He needed a fire. He turned to his aide, Commander Elena Jo, who stood at his side. We'll need everything. Every hull that can fly, every engine that can burn. Jo nodded. Even the Leviathans? For a long moment, Hale did not answer. Then he said quietly, especially the Leviathans. The Leviathan-class warships were legends. Built during Earth's darkest wars, they were titanic vessels, kilometers long, armed with weapons capable of leveling continents. But they had been locked away for centuries, too costly, too dangerous to maintain. Many believed they would never fly again. Now hidden shipyards on Luna lit up with activity. Engineers in exosuits floated across the massive hulls, welding, repairing, awakening ancient systems. The giant ships groaned like beasts stirring from a long sleep. One young mechanic whispered as he touched the cold metal, "The old giants are coming back." Across the colonies, the call to arms spread. On Mars, volunteers lined up at recruitment centers, eager to serve. On Europa, submarine crews trained to fight in space, adapting their skills to the void. In the outer stations, even merchant captains offered their freighters, stripped of cargo holds and fitted with weapons. It was not just soldiers. Civilians too offered help. Scientists built new shields. Farmers sent food. Children wrote messages that were painted on the sides of ships. For the Veyari, for humanity, a sense of purpose filled the air. The galaxy had told them to stay silent. Humanity had chosen instead to rise. But not all voices were supportive. In the grand halls of the Galactic Council, alien ambassadors whispered about the humans' madness. They are reckless, said the envoy of the Scytheri. The Dominion will crush them. They fight for ghosts, sneered another. The Veyari are gone. A few, though, spoke with quiet respect. Do you not see? Asked the envoy of the gentle Kalari. No one else would dare, and yet the humans do. That is why the galaxy fears them. Back on Earth, Ava Renner watched the fleet assemble from her station post. She had been assigned to Admiral Hale's command staff, a reward for discovering the original signal. It still felt unreal. One moment she had been a quiet officer on a forgotten relay. Now she stood in the heart of history. She looked out the viewport as ships formed ranks in orbit. Sleek destroyers, heavy cruisers, carriers with wings of fighters buzzing around them. And in the distance, the first Leviathan rose from Luna's shadow like a mountain of steel. Ava whispered to herself, "We're really doing it." The first gathering took place near Earth's orbit. The fleet stretched across the stars, hundreds of ships waiting in silence. Admiral Hale stood on the bridge of the flagship, resolute, staring at the display. "This," he said softly to his officers, "is only the beginning. We must be ready for war." He opened a channel to the entire fleet. His voice, calm and steady, reached every ship, every crew member. "Men and women of Earth, you know why we are here." A call was sent long ago, a call for help, for hope. No one else answered. But we did. Today we gather not for conquest, not for glory, but because it is right. If the Dominion stands against us, so be it. They will learn what it means when humanity answers the call. The fleet answered with silence and then with thunder. Cheers erupted across comms. From battleships to tiny corvettes, the voices of thousands cried out together. For humanity. For the Veyri. Far away in the dark sectors, the Dominion learned of the fleet. Their warlords sneered at the reports. Upstart humans. They dare rattle their swords. They will be crushed. But deep within the Dominion, others whispered uneasily. The humans were not like other races. They had risen from nothing, from one small planet to spread across the stars in less than 2 centuries. They were stubborn, inventive, unyielding. And now, they had awakened their leviathans. For the first time in generations, the Dominion felt a flicker of doubt. In the training yards of the fleet, Ava watched squadrons of pilots drilling. Fighters weaved and spun, moving like schools of fish in the void. She listened to the instructors shouting commands. Remember, the Dominion is bigger, stronger, but we are faster. We are smarter. We will adapt. The words filled her with pride. Humanity had always survived by adapting. Against storms, against famine, against enemies greater than themselves, they had endured, and now they would endure again. Weeks passed. The fleet grew. Hundreds of ships became thousands. Old veterans returned to service wearing uniforms they thought they'd left behind. Young recruits trained day and night, determined not to fail. In the shipyards, the second Leviathan stirred awake, its engines rumbling like a heartbeat. Soon there would be 3. Soon the galaxy would see the full strength of Earth's resolve. On the eve of departure, Admiral Hale gathered his officers. Ava stood among them, nervous but determined. Hale's voice was firm. Tomorrow we set course for the origin of the Veyri signal. The Dominion will know. They will come for us. But let them come. For too long they have ruled with fear. Now they will face something stronger. What is that, sir? Ava asked before she could stop herself. Hale turned to her, his weathered face breaking into the faintest of smiles. Hope, Lieutenant. Hope backed by steel. And so the fleet stood ready. Across the stars whispers spread, the humans are gathering. The old giants walk again. The call has been answered. The Dominion sharpened their blades. The galaxy waited in silence. And in the heart of Earth's fleet, Ava Renner whispered once more to the stars, the words she had spoken on the night she first heard the signal. Don't worry. We're coming. From the call that summoned the ultimate battle fleet. The fleet had left Earth's orbit weeks ago. The stars stretched endlessly before them, black and full of promise. Each ship sailed in formation, a river of steel and fire, carrying the courage of humanity to the unknown. Ava Renner stood on the bridge of the Resolute, watching the distant points of light. Thousands of crew members filled the decks, preparing for the battle they knew was coming. None of them had fought the Dominion directly, but every soldier, every pilot, every engineer understood what was at stake. This is it, Ava said softly to Commander Elena Jo, who stood beside her. Soon we'll meet them. Jo nodded, her eyes steady. We've trained for this, Lieutenant. Every maneuver, every drill, it all leads to this moment. Far beyond the edge of mapped space, the Zirkal Dominion stirred. Warlord Tharkeen, a towering figure in black armor, studied reports of the human fleet. He leaned over a holomap, showing hundreds of ships moving like ants across the void. Humans, he growled, his voice echoing in the chamber. They answer a call meant for no one. They dare approach my territory? Advisors murmured nervously, but Tharkeen's eyes burned with fury. Mobilize the fleets. Crush them before they reach the signal source. Let them know the Dominion rules without mercy. But even as he spoke, a small seed of doubt grew in the minds of his officers. Humanity was unlike other races. They did not rely on brute force alone. They adapted, they learned, and they never surrendered. The Leviathans alone had shifted the balance of power in ways the Dominion had not seen in centuries. The first skirmish occurred near the asteroid belt at the edge of human space. Scout ships detected a Dominion fleet attempting to intercept. Though smaller in number, the Dominion vessels were armed and swift, designed for quick strikes. Admiral Hale ordered the fleet into formation. Let them come. Let us show them the strength of humanity. The first engagement was chaotic. Fighters darted like swarms of lightning between massive cruisers. Lasers cut through the darkness, and shields flared against sudden impacts. Ava watched from the bridge as a young pilot, barely 18, led his squadron into the fray. Her stomach tightened as explosions rocked nearby ships, but she marveled at the precision. Humanity had trained for this moment, and their skill shone. The Dominion underestimated them. Every move they made was met with swift adaptation. Every ambush turned into a counterattack. For the first time, the Zirkal felt resistance that could not be broken by fear alone. Meanwhile, other alien species began to notice. Long oppressed worlds that had bowed to the Dominion for centuries watched from hidden corners of the galaxy. Some sent messages to the human fleet offering aid in secret. Others simply observed, hope stirring in their hearts. In the chaos, humanity learned quickly. Lessons from minor mistakes became immediate improvements. Tactics that failed were revised, formations adjusted, and shield algorithms enhanced. Engineers repaired damage faster than expected, and pilots adapted mid-battle with incredible creativity. Ava marveled at the resilience. "They don't just fight," she whispered. "They think, they adapt, they survive. Humanity never gives up." Weeks of skirmishes followed. Small battles turned into larger confrontations. At one point, the Dominion unleashed a massive assault on the human fleet near the moon of Callisto. Entire squadrons were swallowed in fire, and casualties mounted. Yet even in the face of loss, humanity endured. Admiral Hale spoke to the fleet after the attack, his voice steady. "We have lost ships, but we have not lost heart. Every lesson we learn makes us stronger. We do not flee. We do not surrender. The Dominion will see the will of humanity, and they will understand it cannot be broken." The fleet responded with a chorus of determination. Even the wounded refused to retreat. Every repair, every refit, every replacement strengthened their resolve. Among the Dominion ranks, fear began to whisper. Tharkeen could not understand it. No matter how many ships they destroyed, the humans continued to grow stronger. Their formations became tighter, their maneuvers more precise, and their courage unshakable. "Commander?" Tharkeen barked to his second-in-command. "Why do they not falter? Why do they continue despite our attacks?" The commander bowed slightly. "It is said among their people that they rise to challenges others fear. They are relentless, my lord." Tharkeen's jaw tightened. "Relentless, yes. But they will die like all others." Yet deep inside, a sliver of doubt had taken root. In the human fleet, the first alien allies began to join openly. Small squadrons from oppressed worlds rallied to humanity's side. They had been inspired by the courage shown in battle. For the first time, humans were no longer alone. Ava watched as a group of Kalari pilots approached. Their ships glimmered with blue energy, contrasting with humanity's silver and gray vessels. "We've heard of you," one said. "We fight with you now." The young lieutenant smiled. "Then together, we will answer the call." It was a moment she would never forget, the uniting of species against tyranny, and the proof that courage inspired courage. As the fleet continued its journey toward the origin of the Veyari signal, Admiral Hale received intelligence of the Dominion's next move. They would attempt a decisive strike to destroy the human fleet before it reached the Veyari world. Hale addressed his officers. "This will be our first true test. The Dominion will throw everything they have at us. But we are not alone. We have each other, and we have a purpose that they cannot understand. We fight not for conquest, but for hope. That is what makes us stronger." Ava felt a fire in her chest. Humanity had never faced an enemy like this, but they would meet it head-on. In the depths of space, the first true battle was about to begin. Thousands of ships braced for the storm. Fighters roared into action. Leviathans prepared their weapons, and every crew member held their ground. The Dominion fleet appeared on the horizon like a dark shadow. Its vastness was terrifying, but the humans did not flinch. Admiral Hale's voice cut across the comms. "Hold your positions. When they strike, we strike harder. Remember, we fight for those who cannot fight, for the Veyari, for humanity." And with that, the first clash began. Lasers lanced across the void. Explosions rocked the smaller craft. Leviathans released torrents of firepower, splitting the enemy formation. Human pilots dove into impossible maneuvers, outsmarting foes larger and faster than themselves. Ava gripped the console. Her heart raced. Every second was life and death, but humanity did not falter. Every ship, every squadron, every pilot fought with courage that could not be measured. The Dominion would soon learn that humans did not just fight. They endured. By the end of the battle, both sides had suffered losses. But humanity had gained something far more important, the realization that they could stand against the Dominion. And the Dominion had gained something they had not felt in centuries, respect and a hint of fear. Tharkeen stared at the reports, fury and unease warring in his mind. They should have fallen. They should have been crushed. But they survive. How is this possible? Even in the darkest corner of the galaxy, the name of humanity began to spread. The relentless, the brave, the unyielding. Back on the Resolute, Ava took a moment to breathe. She looked out at the stars, scarred by the flashes of battle. "We survived," she said softly, "and we're only getting stronger." Commander Joe placed a hand on her shoulder. "Yes, and the Dominion will know it soon enough. But this is only the beginning. The true battle lies ahead." Ava nodded. She understood. The fleet would face greater challenges, but humanity had proven something vital. They did not give up, no matter the odds. The Vayari call had been answered. Humanity had awakened, and the enemy now truly feared what they could not destroy. The stage was set for the ultimate confrontation. From the call that summoned the ultimate battle fleet, the human fleet moved like a river of steel across the void. Thousands of ships from Earth, the colonies, and allied species sailed together in perfect formation. Every fighter, cruiser, and Leviathan-class warship moved with purpose, carrying the courage of 1,000 generations. Admiral Marcus Hale stood on the bridge of the Resolute, his hands gripping the railing. Beside him, Lieutenant Ava Renner watched the stars, imagining the journey that had brought them here. The call of the Vayari had led them across light years of space, and now the final approach was near. "This is it, Lieutenant," Hale said quietly. "The Vayari Ark world is just ahead." Ava's heart quickened. For centuries, the Ark had been hidden, preserved in secret, and now, after all this time, humanity had found it. The Ark world appeared slowly on the main display. It was massive, a glowing jewel of technology and history floating silently in a remote system. Tall crystalline towers rose from its surface, and soft blue lights marked the locations of ancient power cores. Though abandoned for centuries, it still radiated life, but danger was near. Dominion scouts had detected the fleet, and their massive armada was racing to intercept before the humans could reach the Ark. Hale's jaw tightened. "This will be the greatest battle yet. Every ship, every pilot, every crew member must hold fast. We cannot fail." The first strike came without warning. Dominion warships poured from hyperspace, vast and menacing. The black ships filled the void, their weapons blazing. "Hold your positions," Hale ordered. "Do not let them scatter us." Human fighters dove into formation, weaving around cruisers. Leviathans unleashed torrents of firepower, their cannons shaking the vacuum. The fleet moved as one, a living organism of courage and steel. Ava watched as young pilots she had trained alongside executed daring maneuvers, dodging fire and striking back with precision. Engineers recalibrated shields mid-battle, adapting instantly to Dominion weapons. Even the alien allies fought with fierce determination. Kalari ships glimmered in the dark. Sithari drones moved like shadows, and other species contributed what little they could. The Dominion expected to crush humanity easily. Instead, they found skill, courage, and unity beyond anything they had seen. Hours passed, the battle raging across the system. Explosions rocked the void as ships clashed. The human fleet lost vessels, but every loss was met with resilience. Reinforcements from outer colonies filled the gaps, and engineers repaired damaged ships faster than the enemy could destroy them. Ava felt the weight of every moment. Each decision could save or cost lives. Every order mattered, and yet the fleet did not falter. Humanity's strength lay not just in technology, but in the people, their determination, courage, and refusal to give up. Amid the chaos, a Dominion flagship moved to flank the Ark world. Its weapons were capable of obliterating the ancient Vayari structures. Hale did not hesitate. "Leviathans, intercept," he commanded. "Protect the Ark at all costs." The massive warships surged forward, their engines roaring. Cannons fired and beams of energy tore through Dominion hulls. Smaller ships supported the Leviathans, launching strike craft in waves. Ava watched in awe as human tactics outmaneuvered the enemy at every turn. The Dominion was powerful, but it underestimated one thing: humanity never gave up. Meanwhile, on the Ark world, sensors detected the incoming fleet. Ancient systems, still operational after centuries, recognized the approach of friendly life. Holographic displays activated, showing maps, technology schematics, and long-forgotten Vayari history. Ava felt a chill. "We're not just saving a world," she said. "We're preserving a legacy." Hale nodded. "And this legacy will change the galaxy. We must protect it at all costs." The Dominion launched their final wave, hoping to crush the fleet before it reached the Ark. Massive cruisers fired volleys of energy, while strike craft tried to break through the human lines. But humanity had learned. They adapted to every attack. Every maneuver became sharper, every tactic more precise. Fighters darted around enemy ships, Leviathans delivered crushing blows, and the Allied forces moved in perfect coordination. Ava led a squadron of fighters in a daring run, weaving through enemy fire and striking a Dominion cruiser directly in its energy core. The ship erupted in flames, tumbling silently into the void. Her squad cheered over comms. "For humanity! For the Vayari!" Hours turned into a day. The Dominion was relentless, but the human fleet held its ground. Every attack was met with a counterattack. Every advance was challenged with ingenuity and courage. Hale knew victory was possible, but only if they remained united. "Do not falter," he told his officers. "This is our chance to prove that courage and hope are stronger than fear and tyranny." Even the youngest recruits felt the weight of the moment. For them, this was not just a battle. It was proof that humanity could rise to any challenge, no matter the odds. Finally, the Dominion began to falter. Their ships had taken heavy damage, and morale wavered in the face of humanity's relentless defense. Their fleet had underestimated the humans, and now retreat was the only option. Hale seized the moment. "Press forward! Do not let them regroup!" The fleet surged, overwhelming the remaining Dominion forces. One by one, the enemy ships were disabled or destroyed. The battle ended with humanity victorious, the Ark world saved. Ava breathed a sigh of relief as the last Dominion ship fled. The stars were calm once more. The Ark world, once silent for centuries, now hummed with life. Ancient Vayari systems activated, and holograms displayed vast knowledge, history, and technology. Scientists and historians on the fleet moved quickly to document and preserve everything. Hale addressed the crew. "Today we have not only saved a world, we have protected history. We have answered a call that no one else could. Humanity has proven that courage, hope, and unity are stronger than fear." Ava looked around, seeing faces filled with pride and wonder. They had fought together, survived together, and now, the legacy of the Vayari would live because of them. In the aftermath, the allied species that had joined the fleet looked at humanity with new respect. Where once they had doubted, now they saw strength, wisdom, and courage. They began to whisper across the stars. Humans fight for more than themselves. They fight for what is right. Even distant systems previously loyal to the Dominion began to reconsider their allegiances. Humanity had shown what it meant to rise against impossible odds. Ava felt a swell of pride. Humanity had answered the call. They had not faltered. And the galaxy was watching, but Hale knew the fight was not over. The Dominion would return, stronger and more determined. The fleet needed time to regroup, repair, and prepare for the ultimate confrontation. "Enjoy this victory," he said to Ava. "But remember, this is only the beginning. The final battle is coming, and we must be ready." Ava nodded, staring at the glowing Ark world. Humanity had done something incredible. They had united, fought, and won. And yet she knew Hale was right. The war was far from over. Still, in this moment, humanity had shown its true strength. Against fear, against tyranny, against impossible odds, they had risen. The Vayari call had been answered. The fleet had converged, and the galaxy would never forget the day humanity fought not for conquest but for hope. From the call that summoned the ultimate battle fleet, the Dominion had been defeated, at least for now. The surviving human fleet rested in the system surrounding the ancient Veari Ark world. Fire still burned on some ships, but the greater victory had been claimed. The Ark was safe, the fleet intact, and humanity's courage had been proven to the galaxy. Admiral Marcus Hale stood on the bridge of the Resolute, watching the aftermath. Though his face was lined with exhaustion, his eyes burned with pride. Beside him, Lieutenant Ava Renner felt the same quiet thrill. They had answered a call that no one else had dared to answer, and in doing so they had reshaped the fate of countless worlds. "Look at them," Hale said softly. "Every ship, every crew member, they fought not for glory, but because it was right. That is humanity." Ava nodded, her gaze drifting to the Ark world below. Its towers shimmered in blue light, ancient systems now fully awake. For centuries, knowledge and history had been preserved here, waiting for those who could appreciate it. Humanity had arrived at the right time. The first transmissions from the Veari systems reached the fleet. Holographic messages played, showing their history, their culture, their hopes and dreams. The humans watched, fascinated. Ava listened carefully as one holographic voice said, "To those who hear us, to those who act, you honor our memory. You carry our legacy forward." It was not just a message, it was a blessing. The historians and scientists immediately began examining the technology. Blueprints for advanced engines, energy shields, and even medical devices had survived intact. It was a treasure trove of knowledge that could accelerate humanity's technology for generations. Hale smiled. "Not only did we answer the call, but now we can share this knowledge." The Veari dreamed of peace. Perhaps we can help make that dream a reality in the galaxy. News of the victory spread quickly. Across the stars, whispers began. Humans answered the call. They defeated the Dominion fleet. They preserved the Veari Ark. Other species began to rethink their assumptions. Worlds that had cowered under Dominion rule now watched humanity with awe and hope. For centuries, no one had dared to stand against the Dominion and survive. Humanity had done both. Even the Dominion itself reeled from the defeat. Tharkeen, the warlord who had led the fleet, paced angrily in his command chamber. "Humans, they should have been crushed," he muttered. "They are reckless, persistent, and unstoppable." The seed of doubt planted in earlier skirmishes had grown. Now fear and respect intertwined. Humanity was no longer a minor threat. They were a power to be reckoned with. On the Ark world, Ava and her team explored the tallest towers. Holographic displays hovered in the air, showing cities of the past, gardens of beauty, and the ways the Veari had lived. There was peace here despite the destruction caused by time and war. "This is incredible," Ava said. "They dreamed of a galaxy united by knowledge and creativity, not fear and war. And now, because of us, it can live again." Hale placed a hand on her shoulder. "This is our responsibility. Humanity can help preserve it, but also share it with others. We fight not to dominate, but to protect, to inspire." Ava nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. They were no longer just soldiers, they were guardians of history and hope. The fleet began repairs and regrouping. Leviathans floated like titans in orbit, being refueled and rearmed. Fighters swarmed carriers, running drills to sharpen their skills. Engineers worked tirelessly, their hands glowing with energy as they recalibrated systems. But even in these moments of rest, the human crews remained vigilant. They knew the Dominion would return, stronger and more determined. Yet the fear that had once haunted humanity had been replaced by confidence. They had faced the impossible and prevailed. Ava walked among the crew, seeing smiles, laughter, and quiet moments of pride. She overheard a pilot whisper to another, "We did it. We really did it." It was more than a victory in battle. It was proof that courage, intelligence, and unity could overcome even the greatest threats. Messages began arriving from allied species. The Kalari, the Sithari, and other freed worlds sent envoys to express gratitude and offer continued cooperation. Some even proposed forming a coalition to stand against the Dominion, inspired by humanity's bravery. Hale read one such message aloud to the officers. "You have shown what it means to fight for others. Let this alliance be a testament to courage and a promise that oppression will not last." Ava smiled. "We've started something bigger than a fleet." "We've started a movement," Hale nodded. "Yes, a legacy that will grow." Back on Earth, news of the victory reached every corner of the planet and colonies. Streets filled with celebrations, People cheered for the fleet, for the young pilots, for the engineers, and for every soul who had answered the call. Leaders spoke to the world, praising humanity's courage. Today, we have proven that when faced with impossible odds, humanity does not falter. We rise, we fight, we endure. And the galaxy has witnessed our strength. Children listened with wide eyes. Students wrote essays about bravery and unity. Scientists and engineers pored over the new Vayari knowledge, dreaming of possibilities. The story of the ultimate battle fleet became legend in real time. In the distant reaches of space, scattered Dominion fleets took note. Whispers of caution traveled among their commanders. The humans, they cannot be destroyed so easily, one said. They fight not just with weapons, but with courage and hope. Fear spread in the Dominion ranks, but so did a grudging respect. Humanity had not just survived. They had thrived in the face of overwhelming power. And that was something the galaxy had never seen before. Hale stood once more on the Resolute's bridge, looking at the fleet below. "The call has been answered," he said softly. "We have done what no one else dared. And yet our duty continues. There will be more battles. There will be more challenges. But today we celebrate. Today humanity has proven what we can achieve when we act together." Ava looked around, seeing the determination in every face. She knew he was right. The battles ahead would be difficult. The Dominion would return. But humanity had discovered something more powerful than any weapon: the unbreakable will to fight for what is right. The Vayari arc pulsed with light, a quiet testament to survival, hope, and the enduring power of choice. Humanity had preserved a civilization that the galaxy had thought lost forever. They had shown allies and enemies alike that courage and determination could change the course of history. Hale turned to Ava. "Remember this moment, Lieutenant. Remember how humanity stood together, not for conquest, but for hope. That is what will define our future. That is what will make our name known across the stars." Ava smiled. "We won't forget, sir. And the galaxy won't forget either." From that moment, stories would spread of the day the humans answered a call from the past and became a beacon for the future. Across the stars, young pilots, engineers, and civilians would hear the tale and remember one truth: when all others fail, humanity will rise. They will come, they will fight, and they will endure. The ultimate battle fleet had completed its mission, but its legacy, the courage, unity, and hope it inspired, would continue forever. And so, from the call that began it all, a new chapter in galactic history was written. Humanity had proven what it meant to rise against the impossible, to defend the weak, and to answer a call that no one else could. The stars would remember.